Hello again, everybody. Welcome to another Zoom edition of ATI. Dan with Brian, Cam, Matt, and Jason making an appearance. Thanks for joining us for the first time on a Zoom edition, Jason.
Very excited to be here.
Have you? So once again, for the second week in a row, we have a decent amount to get to. I think we should start with the NFL draft. I watched some of it on Thursday night and was
Stone Cold! For God's sakes! Stone Cold is back!
I am back. How do I kick him out? How do I kick him out?
Go ahead, Dan.
Wow. Well, this is great to have Matt. We got a full cast of characters now. But yeah, let's just jump into the NFL draft. I watched some of it on Thursday night and was tricked into thinking that the Patriots would actually do something with their first round pick. And of course, Bill traded it, and I felt like I wasted 3 hours of my life, and then I didn't watch any more of the draft. So you guys will have to fill in on what actually happened during the draft. Why don't we start with Matt Custodio, who's the draft guru? What are your thoughts on the draft overall, and then specifically how the Patriots did?
So first off, I love the idea that I finally was able to get distracted from something, and I enjoyed the fact it was 4 hours long because it meant that it was more time I could be distracted from everything else. I'll admit I sat in front of my TV through Thursday, through Friday, through Saturday. Only time I missed was to go to the bathroom. And even then, it's on your phone, right? So overall, I thought it was entertaining. Kind of shocked that it went chalk so much through the early part, but I always think it's entertaining just hearing the stupidity that some of these ESPN guys come up with and how deep they dig. And I swear they hire private investigators on some of them. And unless you have parents as athletes or went through some sort of world-changing struggle, you're never going to get drafted in the NFL. That is official. In terms of Patriots-wise, could have put money, probably should have, that they weren't going to pick in the first round. They never do. Second off, this reminds me a lot of, I forget what year, 2011 I think it was, 2010 when they drafted Hernandez and Gronk that year, and they got some defensive weapons. They're not big-name guys, but I think they're guys that fit the Patriot system. They'll let Stidham just dink and dunk the ball down the field with the tight ends they got. And then McKinney and Uche are two of the best pressure guys. They don't get sacks, but in New England, it doesn't matter about sacks. Sacks don't exist according to New England defense. It's all about getting pressure on the quarterback. And percentage statistic-wise, they're two of the best in college football at doing it. So I'm sure we'll get to the kicker at some point too. But the first 3 rounds, I thought the Patriots actually did okay.
Lodi, you want to get in here since you're bombing the Zoom?
I'm bombing the Zoom. I watched the first round. I didn't watch much of the second and third, mostly because it was hard to keep up with the rapid pace of it. And I honestly, figured the Patriots would make about 17 trades and would never really know where they were going to land. So I follow a lot of it on Twitter, and I say Matt Custodio's point of view is more in line with what I would know anyway. So I lean towards his expertise or lack thereof.
Anybody else?
No, I think that's
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that's basically right. As a Patriots fan, you defer to Bill, and I know in the past few years they've taken a skill position in the first couple of rounds, which I'm not sure everyone has agreed has really worked out to their benefit. But the standard protocol is trade and get value, and it's probably someone whose name you don't know right now, but in a few years you'll be thankful you picked them up, and you just kind of take that for what it is. I guess, for Matt, our draft expert, or anyone else here, I'd be curious if you guys think that if the draft was influenced by the way that, the actual structure of people being from home, or if this whole kind of COVID environment has affected scouts' ability to really get a better idea of the town, and thus maybe that's part of why you're seeing a lot of this, as Matt put it, just kind of chalk the whole way through, because there isn't an ability to get deeper into this.
Well, I thought Nike did a great job drafting for the Patriots. I
Yeah,
thought he killed it.
Your dog is the way to do it. The deferring to your dog is definitely the way to do it. I think that was it the highest rated draft in a long time, Matt?
I mean, yes, it was the highest viewed ever on TV.
And now I
Yes,
know that was
so was the WNBA draft. Like,
there was
Yeah.
nothing to watch on TV, but I think you're going to see that the NFL will probably maybe go towards maybe a hybrid of this model in the future, because I think it's more interesting to see what's going on with the families and, the guy, have to swipe his phone away from his girlfriend so he would see the congratulations from the other girlfriend. It just, you see how much of a creep Roger Goodell is, introducing the picks. I mean, I thought Adam Silver was the creepiest guy I've ever seen, say picks, but I mean, he took it to a whole nother level. But I think that the fan participation thing was big, and they'll jam social media down people's throats any way they can. But I thought it was nice to see. I thought that looking from the Raiders' point of view, it was nice to see what receiver they're going to take first, and of course they take the fastest guy in the draft. They have to, because that's an Al Davis move. But I like what they did, because they needed receivers, and they got every single one possible in the draft. And then with the Patriots, we'll get into it later, but they didn't take a quarterback, but they might be getting a quarterback from Cincinnati. Dan will talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, I really want to get into the redhead that's available now. But Cam, did you have any draft thoughts?
No, not necessarily. Other than I was a little bit disappointed to see the Patriots trade away their first round pick, but at the same time, whatever. I expect nothing less.
Yeah.
Judging from what I had read, which wasn't a whole lot, it was just kind of like, all right, everybody in the second and third round kind of seems to clump together, and there isn't a huge disparity in talent between this projected second and third round guys. So is it better to have more of that range of talent rather than just get one guy who could potentially be a great player? I mean, that's a huge debate right there. That's a whole other discussion. I mean, I'm not the football guru here. I was a little annoyed. I rolled my eyes, but the more I thought about it, I was just kind of like, all right, maybe it makes sense for the Patriots.
And my last draft as a whole out process thought is Goodell and the NFL got a lot of crap beforehand for even holding it in the first place. And I think it proved that even in this tough Corona times, that all it takes is a little thought process and abiding by rules. And you can do things in this time that you normally do. Everyone's thought is, we can't do this, we can't do this, we can't do this. Instead of, well, how can we adapt it to make it work in these tough times? And Goodell, I give him credit. I'm not going to give him Adam Schefter praise of the world credit, but I'll give him credit that he sat down, he talked with people, and they figured out a way to do this safely. And I do think that was very well done.
Yeah, I agree. Let's get to the Red Rocket. So Andy Dalton was released today by the Bengals. My take on it is, if let's say the Patriots do bring him in and they have success with him, they contend, who knows, maybe they even win a Super Bowl with him at some point in the next couple of years.
I'm going to leave, right? I'm going to leave if you continue.
I mean, if the Patriots could win a Super Bowl with Andy Dalton, I will drink Tom Brady's tears. That would be so painful for Tom Brady. It would be more painful than if the Patriots won a Super Bowl with Stidham or some young guy. If the Patriots could somehow win a Super Bowl with Andy Dalton, who's obviously is younger than Brady, but he's a veteran quarterback. He's got to be, in his mid-30s? That would be spitting right in Tom's eye. Don't get me wrong. I love Tom Brady. There's no one who's ever going to be a more popular Patriot in my eye. He's the greatest of all time. But I would love to see the Patriots win without Tom while Tom is still playing in the NFL. So I think story-wise, for people like us who talk about sports in settings like this and who are just fans, I think it would be really interesting to see the Patriots do well with someone like Andy Dalton. But I'll toss it to you guys now.
Never gonna
You don't
happen.
think it'd be bigger if it was somebody like Stidham? I mean, I think if you have an established veteran, it's like, okay, but I love to see a new replacement,
I just think in terms of it, of being petty and angry at Tom for leaving, it would be more interesting.
Oh, sure.
And yeah.
Oh, you didn't have Brian Hoyer do it.
Well, I think if you take a guy that's been in the Patriot system for at least a year, whether it be Stidham, whether that be Hoyer, even to go back to Garoppolo and Castle, when all those guys won, or Brissett, it didn't matter because they were in the Patriot system and they kind of groomed them the way they want. I think if you take a guy that's basically been a league scrub his whole career, and without AJ Green, the guy is useless.
The other thing, he's not a scrub.
Look at all the games where he hasn't had AJ Green versus all the games he's had AJ Green. It's pretty big. So AJ Green's a top 10 receiver in the league when healthy.
Playoff game, but he's been to 8 playoff games. So he's gotten teams to the playoffs. If he had Bill Belichick as his coach,
I'm willing. We have 6 of us here. In terms of numbers, I think he's a scrub.
I know Lodi, when I texted him this morning, said hell no to the Andy Dalton idea. So I want to hear him give it to me right now.
Yeah, no. I mean, Jared Stidham's the guy. I don't think they should go to Hoyer either. Dalton is every bit of what Stidham could be, and Stidham is a second year in this league. So why not just ride with Stidham and let the Patriots go that direction?
I think what everyone's figured out in this league is that either you need an absolute stud at the quarterback position or you need someone who's serviceable on a cheap contract. And Andy Dalton's kind of in that weird middle zone where you're going to have to pay him real money as an established veteran. And he's just not good enough to make it your worthwhile. I mean, it's the same thing in the NBA, right? Either you have guys at the league max and they outperform that, or you have guys on cheap deals, and that's how you compose a winning team. I will say one thing though, like, how do you guys feel about this from Cincinnati's perspective? You know, I know obviously they drafted Burrow, but you look at a lot, you know, at least a fair number of the quarterbacks who have emerged into being real stars in the past, 10 plus years, like Aaron Rodgers getting the tutelage of Brett Favre, or even before then, like Mike Vick had the benefit of sitting on the bench for a year, learning the playbook and things of that nature. Do you think that's a missed opportunity by the Bengals, or do you think this is business?
I for sure think it's a missed opportunity, but at the same time, it's tough because you see, obviously Bengals are nowhere near the Chiefs level when they got Mahomes, but you got Burrow, who's already on the older stage of this whole draft class. He's almost 23. And that whole team is aging. I see what you mean. And I definitely think if Burrow had a year to sit, it would probably be better. But I think a business standpoint, you had to cut the rocket loose.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was the right decision for the Bengals to make.
Is he released, or is he still on their team? You're going to trade for him? He's released.
No, he's cut. He's done.
He's cut.
Okay, so then does it matter? So he was making 14. The Patriots can sign him for dog shit money, but he just have to take. They don't have to make it. They don't have to make $14 million. They only got like $3 million of cap room, but that doesn't matter.
If Dalton's willing to take a discount.
Okay.
Yeah, like that comes down to it. Like Jameis Winston wanted like $20 million a year, and he realized he wasn't getting it, so he took a cheap deal for 1 year in New Orleans to hope to rebound type thing.
And then Cam Newton's still available too, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of quarterbacks gotta find homes too.
Someone brought up, I think it was Jason brought up the Aaron Rodgers. That's an interesting situation we should talk about. The fact that they drafted the kid from Utah State. What's his name? Jordan. What is it? Jordan.
Jordan Love.
Whatever the kid. Yeah, Jordan Love. Basically, and now there's reports that the Packers basically did that, basically to show Aaron Rodgers that they run. Whoops.
We lost Dan.
There goes my. They basically did that to show that they run the organization, not Aaron Rodgers, which I think was pretty interesting. As I fix my situation here, what do you guys think of that situation?
Cam, Matt.
I totally buy into showing it to Aaron Rodgers and saying, listen, this is our show. This is our show. We run it 100%. Management needs to keep control of players. You see it a lot more in soccer. I mean, Matt can definitely attest to this at the European level. You see a lot of teams. I mean, even my team, Chelsea, you see a lot of managers get driven away because the players have more control over the organization than the actual manager and upper ownership do. So I 100% love that draft choice just to show it to Aaron Rodgers and remind him who is in control. Because I think that there's a lot of teams you see, and it's really spreading to American sports where a lot of teams are falling into that sort of realm, and it only hurts organizations, if you ask me.
But I mean, he's not going to play, right? Why not get him a receiver or a weapon or something he can actually use? Do they want to win? Do they give a shit?
And I hate Aaron Rodgers as much as the next guy, but if there were 5 people who you would hand over the keys to in the NFL, wouldn't Aaron Rodgers be one of them? I'd love to stick it to these guys, just like I'd love to stick it to LeBron. But like, if you want to come play for the Celtics, I'd probably take them all the same.
Right.
It's just he's that good, and I know Rodgers and their coach have a little bit of back and forth, and I don't know what his influence on management is with drafting, and maybe this is kind of that power struggle playing out before us. But I don't know. I'd side with Rodgers. That's who I'd rather die with if I were a Packers fan.
And I think people are comparing it to the Favre Rodgers situation. And obviously we all know Favre hated Rodgers and there was that whole animosity. But I think it was different. Rodgers was considered potentially the top pick with Alex Smith that year. And he fell because for whatever reason, no one wanted him. And the Packers were like, well, we're sitting here at 25 or whatever it was. Might as well take him. They traded back up from their spot they got from being in the NFC title game. They moved up to get Jordan Love. It's not like, oh, he's here for us. It's we're going to go get him. And I think that speaks a lot to what their thoughts on Aaron Rodgers are and what they think the state of the franchise is.
So then they're going to make a move, though. They're going to move Rodgers somewhere for you're going to get a lot for him, I imagine.
Well, he's got a $28 million dead cap hit next year, so.
And he's 36, and they know he wants out. So a team's not going to offer anything.
Great in New England if Steven
doesn't work out. In New England, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
He would look better than the redhead. I'll give you that, Lodi.
There's $130 million of cap space coming the Patriots' way next year, so.
There you go.
And Trevor Lawrence will look beautiful in that uniform.
Nope. Trevor Lawrence is going to be an absolute bust.
Oh, Patriot helmet. Yep. Love it. Let's transition to baseball. There's a few baseball topics we can get to. Little League World Series officially canceled. Looks like minor league baseball is going to be totally canceled this year. And then the more interesting thing to me was the latest proposal or the latest rumor about how Major League Baseball might play the season, which you guys can correct me. I think it's something like there'll be three 10-team divisions. There won't be an American National League, and that's how they'll do it. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I get to see baseball. I wouldn't mind that, but I mean, I still don't know how it's all going to work. I haven't read all the details. I know there's other guys might have taken a look at it.
I'm not 100% sure of how like playoff formatting would work, but I know that the MLB was looking at trying to expand playoffs in the coming season. So you have these divisions realigned. You have kind of this freebie to maybe take a shot in a new direction with the playoffs. If you wanted to have a shorter regular season, try expanding the playoffs a little bit, add an extra round. I don't see a reason why they couldn't try that this season. I mean, this season already could be a bust as it is anyway. So just try it. I mean, it's a weird division alignment. I'm not 100% sure who, is it the top two teams from each division and then wild cards, or I don't know how it's going to work.
Do they all have a DH? Does everybody have a DH or nobody does? How do they do that?
It's a great question. I have no idea.
I don't think it's been that detailed out yet.
Okay.
9 pitchers batting.
They had the Grapefruit League and the Cactus League. That was going to be one thing, but I guess that fell through. That they were going to have all the games like a JetBlue or wherever. But I guess I don't know if they're still talking about that as well.
Right.
Well, I know that was – oh, sorry, Dan.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I know that was a thought when Arizona and Florida were the only states that were, like, allowing people to do anything outside. Right. But now that it's kind of spreading that more states are trying and seeing what they can do with small groups of, like, 20 and 25, right. That's kind of where this spread into. So obviously states like California, Massachusetts, New York probably won't – they'll probably be the last to get their teams back. But
there's something on ESPN says that NASCAR starts up again May 7th. Is that right?
May 17th, they're going.
No fans, though, right?
No fans, but they're doing tracks in North Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, South Carolina, so they can stay local. But yeah, they're open, and it's like 3 times a week too. They're going all out.
See, that makes sense. You can totally physical social distance, however you want to say it, if you're driving cars, right? I mean, that seems like
the pit crew.
They're limiting all those numbers, so. Like normally you'd have a crew of, I know this is off track, but then you normally have a crew of 12 guys do everything. They're trying to limit it down to 6 so you have more space, but yeah, they're trying.
I think the bigger point here is that if you're kind of a sport that's on the lower end of things, like this is an opportunity to get yourself out there and capture some eyeballs, right? If you're NASCAR, realistically, even the spot that baseball's in right now, if you're the NFL or the NBA, there's a lot less pressure on you to do something risky and screw everything up. Whereas, for baseball, it's an opportunity to evolve and take a shot at doing something while nobody else is active.
And I like that idea, Jason, because right now, if you try something out of the box and it doesn't work, you can say, oh, well, we tried to get something to bring sports back. But if it does work, you can be like, well, maybe we do this in the future in a different way. So it really kind of opens up that can of worms for people.
Right. As long as you try it in a responsible, safe way, and then if it doesn't work out, well, you tried, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it seems like I think golf is supposed to, the PGA Tour is supposed to come back in June, I think.
And UFC's coming back May 9th.
Yeah, UFC's coming back soon, allegedly.
And I would think tennis would be a sport that they could. I mean, you're on the other side of the net, as long as there aren't really any spectators. That seems like a no-brainer too, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's easy to just focus on like the sport itself and then kind of ignore all the logistics that come with anything, right? And that's probably the bigger headache with most of these. You know, I think there's always a world where you could even get the basketball players into some place where they can guarantee that for 2 weeks beforehand, no funny business is going on. But there's just a lot of effort that goes behind these productions, as I'm sure you guys know from even a video standpoint. So
the big issue they have is if they do have somebody who does test positive, what do? Do they shut down? And then the other thing I think Major League Baseball is working out is, well, can the families be there? And like who can, who can't? I don't know. I mean, I've been really lucky. I don't know if you guys hopefully been in the same situation. I don't know people personally that have died, but I know other people who've talked about funerals and everything, and you know they can't do anything or they're alone. And you know if something happens in one of these events, does the whole league get shut down? Is it worth starting it anyway? I say do it anyway because maybe nothing happens. But what's the chance of something happening in one of these events?
Well, you see the stuff with like Dak Prescott or whoever who are getting arrested for throwing house parties and they can't abide by anything, and to think that's going to be that much of a safer environment if they just tell them, oh, we're going to be live and you're going to have to just hold to this. Nobody's
right.
People aren't going to be that strict.
And I find it interesting. And this goes down a whole other path. But if things are going well or being done correctly, you don't hear about it. And that's it found in horse racing. Horse racing right now, I think there's 4 main tracks that are still open.
Which 4 did you bet on today? You know them all, right?
Oakland, did Tampa, but an Arkansas Derby this weekend, Saturday, 6:00.
50 cents, Matt. 50 cents.
But the big picture is the horse tracks is say if you even have a fever and you have any symptom possible, 2 weeks you're gone, and then you can come back.
Except for the horses.
Horses. That's Santa Anita. That's a whole other issue. But they've had people that have had symptoms. They've had people that have had corona, but you don't hear anything because it's just, I don't know if it's because it's horse racing. Maybe it's because it's down south. I don't know. But they've just continued on, and one guy goes down, another guy comes up. It's the kind of the same thing, but not at the same time. I think it's just you don't know until you try. And like I said earlier, just think about all the outcomes, and sometimes you just gotta make decisions.
Right.
Wait, so that means that as of now, the Triple Crown races are all scheduled to happen?
Not on time, no. Like the Kentucky Derby moved to Labor Day weekend, and then the Preakness after. Yeah.
Gotcha. Should we get to the Last Dance at this point? So episodes 3 and 4 aired this past Sunday. I think the big thing to get into is Dennis Rodman, because he was the main topic of episode 3 and even a little bit into episode 4. And the most interesting thing to me was the part about during the 97-98 season where Dennis Rodman basically took a 48-hour sabbatical to Vegas because he needed a break, and then Michael Jordan had to go bring him home.
To see Carmen Electra, though, that's worth it.
Right.
Like if it's like Carmen Electra's like, hey, you got to come see me for 2 days. It's like, all right, I'll do it. Okay. And did you see her? She still has.
She looks better now than she did then.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
She was hiding like under the bed or in the closet.
Yeah. He knocked on the door and she hid under the covers or something. She still looks amazing.
Can you imagine an athlete doing that today in the social media age? It just wouldn't happen.
Well, here's the thing, Dan. Like, if you follow sports all through the 50s, that was Mickey Mantle's life, basically. That was Babe Ruth's life. Like, they did stuff like that all the time. You can't do it now because everybody would know about everything. You got what you were talking about, JFK, Marilyn Monroe. You're talking about whatever's going on. That's just how it is. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
And he's hopping on the motorcycle. Oh, sorry, Dan.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, he's hopping on the motorcycle with a beer can in his hand. Like, if you get caught nowadays, you're not only are you getting in trouble on social media, you're kicked off your team. You're probably kicked out of the league, especially if you're in the NFL. Like, just that picture would have just ended your career in today's world. But back then, it was like, yeah, whatever. It's Dennis Rodman.
And
It's
back when I was thin, I had a Rodman jersey, and I had to give it to somebody. So Jason has it now. I said, if you ever get rid of that jersey, I will kill you. Don't talk to me ever again. You cannot get them anymore. You can't get. It's the black one with the red numbers.
jersey.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the best.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Those were like their the third Bulls jersey was the black jersey.
Back when they used to do before now they have 15 alternate jerseys, but yeah.
Yeah. Lodi, have you been watching?
Haven't watched a lick. The only good thing on TV right now is Survivor.
Oh boy!
Why did we bring him back again?
We didn't. He bombed us.
He had to have had the link though. Come on.
I didn't send it to me.
Protected?
I just guessed.
Yeah. A little birdie sent it to him. I'm not going to say who it was.
Cam.
The other part of the most recent episodes that I think was really interesting was the fact that Michael Jordan still absolutely despises Isaiah Thomas.
Oh yeah. And Isaiah's trying to backtrack. It's because the Celtics walked off. It's like, no, the Celtics gonna walk off. They said get on the bus because Detroit's gonna rip your head off. And they were trying to make it, and then the whole backstory is where Isaiah was talking all this bullshit about magic and AIDS. It's like, well, he got it because he was gay, That's the only way you can get AIDS. And they were like, okay, all right, go ahead, keep talking. And then the basic bottom line was they were like, you call Isaiah and put him on this team, I'm not playing. Well, Magic said that, Bird said that, and Jordan all said that.
I think the
Jordan
next
Zedget said that never happened. If you listen to Jordan,
he also never got suspended and never played baseball with the Barons for 2 years and magically came back. You wouldn't win 3 in a row and go, I want to play baseball because my dad told me it's a good idea. My dad told me it's a good idea too, but I suck at baseball. It's a different story. But it's like, come on, I'm going to play baseball for 2 years and then come back. Stern's dead, so now you can write about it and you can say, oh, this is what really happened.
Well, I think the next 2 episodes, or at least the next one, will deal with the Dream Team, and then probably the one after that will deal with the retirement or suspension, if you want to be a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, he just left basketball on his own, because that makes total sense.
I'll admit, and obviously I want to hear Jason's opinion, obviously living in Chicago, but the one thing I don't like is the amount of jumping around it does. And for a 97, 98 Bulls documentary, obviously when you're interviewing all these people, you're talking about other things. But it's not as much 97, 98 Bulls as I was thinking. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy. I want to hear all the other crap. Don't get me wrong. I do. But if you market this as a 97, 98 Bulls documentary, that's not what it is.
I don't think it was marketed that way, though.
On The Last Dance. It 100% was. Everyone talks about all this never before seen footage, blah, 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 blah. That's like 10% of it. Like when I first heard it was going to be 10 hours long, it was like, holy shit. And then you figure out like, okay, yeah, it's just like the whole Jordan life story and the backstory of everybody else, which,
something else I want to say. Ken Burns says this sucks. He hates it. And he goes, because Michael Jordan's production company is involved. He goes, and that ruins everything.
Because
because they get the final sign off on everything.
Kinda, yeah.
Michael Jordan's side of the story, yeah.
But if you listen to Michael Jordan talk, he has no trouble saying whatever's on his mind. When you click that MA, I watch the ones on the ESPN app, so the TV MA, and he just problem saying what's on his mind. He's got nothing to hide.
You got to do the MA version.
Yeah.
It is so much better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anybody got anything else before we say goodbye?
Max Kellerman needs to get the hell off TV.
Yes, 100% agree. I don't even care about football anywhere near as much as anyone else on this panel. I want, if there isn't already a petition to get him off of TV, I will start one. I want all of you to sign it. I don't care if you agree. Let's just get him off.
What's his latest BS?
So obviously first take is they have to come up with 2 sides of the argument, whether they agree with them or not, just to make it interesting, right? Well, because there's no actual sports going on, Kellerman's just digging himself a hole over and over again. Whatever expert ESPN brings on to go against him just picks his argument apart in about 2 seconds. And then he backtracks and calls the other guy fake or whatever. And then he's just back to square one. They go to a new topic. Normally he can make it up because they have new topics every 30 seconds. Now that it's the same topics every day, he's just it's not fun when you know you're making it up just to be argumentative. It's not fun as a viewer.
You gotta feel bad though, right? Like on a similar note, like I still go to ESPN.com every day, and for what? There's nothing, and you just hit refresh, and and you think something's gonna be there, and it's like, and then I get upset when it's like so and so's grandmother's neighbor died, and you're just like, this feels like a trap, but I just keep walking myself into it. So, so you guys keep turning the TV on. Yeah. Where it says like, Browns player dies of coronavirus, and it turns out they were 85 years old. But that's all there is to go off of these days. I was reading yesterday about Manny wants to play baseball in Taiwan again. I'm watching that video of that A's prospect going deep off his wife on like the wiffle ball thing or whatever. It's just this is stupid, but that's all we got.
Hey.
All we got. I think that's all we've got. Before we say goodbye, I want to go around the horn just quickly because we were texting about this morning. Yes or no? Will school be in session in the fall in Massachusetts? Brian.
Do I want it to be? No, it will be. It will be. There's already talks to have graduation later on because you got to have graduation, which should be a lot of fun. But yeah, no, there will be. There definitely will be.
Cam, you agree?
I'm gonna say yes, even though my gut's telling me no. I'm gonna say yes, more because that's how I'm gonna get paid. I need school to come back so I can get paid.
Same answer, Matt Custodio?
Oh yeah, there's too much at stake for there not to be school.
Jason?
Are you including like online, or do you mean like in person?
Well, they're online. They're doing it now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I'll take the no.
Lodi, you're saying no, right?
You're all unemployed.
I'm saying no. January.
But it doesn't affect me. All right, guys. It's been fun.
That's 3-2. That's 3-2, by the way. It's 3-2.
Talk to you next week. Spin the damn music.